The galaxy's most feared alien war council gathered aboard the dreadnought, Vorsk Prime. The massive chamber was carved from black alloy, lit only by cold blue light from the floor panels. 12 alien commanders sat in a circle, their eyes fixed on a floating hologram in the center. The projection showed chaos dust storms, explosions, screams. A lone figure stood among the smoke. A human Marine helmet cracked, rifle broken in half. Around him, alien soldiers advanced in full battle armor, their plasma rifles glowing. The human didn't run, charged. What followed was impossible. The Marine weaved through gunfire, using the broken rifle as a club. He disarmed one alien, shot another, then hurled a grenade into a mech's cockpit. In less than 3 minutes, the entire alien squad lay defeated in the sand. The chamber went silent. "This is not possible," hissed War Master Zurek, a giant, insectoid with blade-like arms. No human could survive this, let alone win. A tall reptilian commander leaned forward. "Footage can be forged." But another voice cut in low, calm, certain. "This was recorded by our own drones," said Admiral Koth, leader of the Vorsk Prime Fleet. "Every angle confirms it." "The human's name is Sergeant Cole Varick." Murmurs rippled through the council. Humans were considered clever, but fragile, better at talking than fighting. Yes, they had brave soldiers, but nothing in their history matched this. The council turned to Commander Thrin, an alien intelligence officer with silver skin and eyes like polished stone. "You will investigate," ordered Koth. "I want to know what this human is, why he keeps winning battles he should not survive." Thrin's eyes narrowed. "Understood." Flashback the desert moon of Kalthus 3 weeks earlier. The desert moon Kalthus burned under 2 suns. Waves of heat shimmered above the dunes, and the sky was filled with the constant roar of plasma fire. Sergeant Cole Varick crouched behind a half-collapsed bunker, sweat dripping down his face. His squad Al-Fizavon was supposed to hold this outpost until reinforcements arrived. But the reinforcements never came. They were outnumbered 20-1. The alien forces had advanced tech-hover mechs, energy shields, drones that could fire without pilots. Cole's side had rifles, a few grenades, and the will to keep going. Private Hensley, barely 19, crawled over to Cole. "Sarge, we're out of ammo in the East Tower." Cole looked toward the rising smoke. He knew what that meant: another position lost. "Pull them back to the bunker," he ordered. "Keep your head down." Hensley hesitated. "What about you?" Cole checked his rifle. "The ammo counter read 0. I'll manage." The alien assault came fast. It moved like a wall of metal and light, their mechs crunching through the sand. Cole darted between craters, staying low. A drone zipped toward him. He yanked a knife from his boot and hurled it, hitting the drone's core. It fell smoking into the sand. He grabbed the drone's plasma rifle, hot to the touch, and fired at the closest mechs. Sensor array. Sparks exploded, and the mech stumbled, crashing into the dunes. Cole didn't think he acted. A grenade went into the mech's cockpit. He used the blast as cover to close in on 2 soldiers, swinging the broken remains of his rifle like a club. One alien fell with a shattered visor. The other tried to retreat, but Cole tackled him and ripped away his weapon. By the time the sand settled, the battlefield was silent. His squad, scattered and wounded, stared at him like he wasn't human. "How? How did you?" Hensley started, but stopped. Cole didn't answer, just reloaded the stolen rifle and scanned the horizon. "We move in 5, he said. Back on Vorsk, Prime Commander Thrin replayed the footage again and again. He watched Cole's movements, the speed, the precision, the lack of hesitation. This wasn't luck. This wasn't adrenaline. This human, Thrin murmured to himself. Either he's the greatest soldier his species has ever produced, or he's something else entirely. The council wanted answers. Thrin intended to get them. To do that, he would have to find Cole Varick before the war swallowed him whole. But Thrin didn't yet know the truth. Cole had been in battles, long before Kalthus, and every one of them ended the same way. He survived when no one else could. The first interview, the alien dreadnought Vorsk Prime drifted through deep space. its cold metal corridors humming with power. Commander Thrin walked in silence, her sharp black armor reflecting the dim lights. She had been summoned to the intelligence wing. Few aliens ever spoke to the War Council directly, but Thrin had been chosen for this strange case. Just one human, had done the impossible. She entered a round chamber where floating screens showed different angles of the same man, Sergeant Cole Varick. Footage replayed of him on Calthus, standing in the sand, his broken rifle hanging from his hand, facing a full alien battalion. Counselor Drask, the largest of the council members, turned toward her. His voice rumbled. "Commander Thrin, we'll go to the human colony and speak with him. We want to know how he survived. We want to know what he is." Thrin bowed. "And if he resists," Drask's eyes narrowed, "then you will make him talk." Cole Varick sat on a steel bench in the small human outpost on New Horizon, staring. At the horizon, the war was over at least. That's what they told him, but he didn't feel peace. He had buried too many friends to feel peace. The door to his quarters opened with a hiss. 2 armored alien guards stepped in, followed by a tall figure in black. "Sergeant Cole Varick," the alien woman said, her voice calm but sharp. Cole's eyes studied her. "That's me, and you are?" "Commander Thrin, Intelligence Division." Cole smirked. "That's a fancy way of saying you're here to ask me questions I don't feel like answering." Her head tilted slightly. "We could do this the hard way, but I think you'd prefer otherwise." Cole leaned back, crossing his arms. "Go ahead, ask your questions." Thrin activated a small holographic recorder. A floating image of Calthus appeared, burning skies, sandstorms, and alien mechs firing plasma rounds. Cole's image stood in the middle of it, covered in dust and blood. "Explain this," she said simply.
"Oh."
Cole was silent for a moment. His eyes went distant, as if looking back at a place he didn't want to remember. "You ever fight when you already know you're dead?" he asked. Thrin frowned. "No, we fight to win." Cole shook his head slowly. "That's your mistake. My squad. We knew we weren't getting out. The only thing left was how we were going to go." Flashback Calthus. The desert moon was nothing but endless dunes and wrecked cities. Cole's squad had been sent to slow the alien advance. Had 1 armored vehicle, a few rifles, and barely enough ammunition to last an hour. When the mechs appeared on the horizon, the other soldiers looked to Cole. He wasn't the highest rank, but in that moment, everyone followed him. "We're not running," he told them. "If we break, they'll reach the civvies, so we hold here." They fought until their guns overheated. Plasma blasts tore apart the vehicle. One by one, his squad went down. Cole picked up fallen weapons, fired, until they melted in his hands, then grabbed another. When his rifle finally snapped in half, he didn't stop. He charged straight at the alien line, weaving through fire, using the wrecks as cover. He reached the mech line and climbed onto the lead machine, ripping open its cockpit with bare hands and a stolen blade. By the time alien reinforcements arrived, the rest of his squad was gone. But Cole still stood cut, bleeding, half-conscious as surrounded by wrecked mechs and burning sand. Back in the present, Thrin studied him. "That is not normal." Cole gave a tired smile. "No, it's human." Thrin tapped her claws lightly on the table. "Your species is reckless, wasteful. You risk your life even when the odds are certain." "Death," Cole leaned forward. "You don't understand why that's dangerous for you." Her eyes narrowed. "Enlighten me." Cole's voice dropped low. "Because you can't predict someone who's already accepted they're dead. You can't scare them. And you sure as hell can't stop them." Thrin stared at him in silence. For the first time, she began to understand why the War Council was worried. That night, as Cole lay in his bunk, a faint hum filled the air. Opened his eyes and saw a small drone outside the window, its red light blinking. He reached for his sidearm, but the drone zipped away into the darkness. He didn't know it, but the council had ordered more than an interview. They weren't just watching him, they were testing him. And the real test was coming. The spaceport on Velrose Station was noisy, with traders shouting prices and machines unloading cargo. Neon lights blinked over food stalls. Children ran between crowds, chasing small floating toys. To most, it was just another busy day. To Cole Varick, it felt wrong. His squad had been sent here to guard a shipment of medical supplies bound for human colonies. Belrose was a neutral zone, no weapons allowed, no military uniforms. Cole wore civilian clothes, but his sharp eyes kept scanning the crowd. "Relax, Sergeant," his squad mate Ortiz said, biting into a piece of fried meat from a vendor. "No one's going to start a war in the middle of a trade station." Cole didn't answer. His instincts were screaming. They were halfway to Dock 12 when the first alarm rang, a deep, metallic tone that shook the floor. Traders froze mid-sail. Children stopped laughing. Then the sound of heavy shutters slamming down echoed through the station. Doors sealed shut. Cole's earpiece crackled. Security lockdown initiated. All civilians remain in place. But Cole heard something the announcement didn't mention, the thud of armored boots approaching. Positions. He barked to his team. They pulled their small sidearms, useless against heavy military gear, but better than nothing. From the far hallway, figures emerged. Tall, scaled, and armored in black, carrying weapons far too advanced for any neutral station security. Cole recognized them instantly. Drex shock troopers. The Drex were supposed to be nowhere near Velrose. They were part of the same empire Cole had fought on Calthus. Seeing them here was a bad sign. Very bad. Sin. One of them shouted in their guttural language. Civilians panicked. Some ran towards sealed exits. Others dove under market stalls. Ortiz's voice shook. "They're not here for the supplies, are they?" Cole shook his head. "Oh, they're here for us." The Drex opened fire, not at random, but toward Cole's team. Blasts of green plasma ripped through the market, melting metal and shattering stalls. Cole dove behind a food cart, pulling a terrified child to safety. "Move!" he yelled, pushing his squad toward a side corridor. The station's lockdown meant there was no way to get to the main docks. But Cole remembered a maintenance shaft from the schematics. If they could reach it, they might escape. They ran through narrow hallways, lit only by flickering emergency lights. Cole could hear the Drex behind them, moving fast. They weren't trying to capture the squad. They were trying to corner them. Halfway down the hall, an explosion knocked. Cole to the floor, his ears rang. Ortiz pulled him up, coughing through the smoke. "Maintenance shafts through here," Ortiz pointed. But the doorway was already blocked by 2 Drex troopers. Cole had no heavy weapons, no backup, no time. He spotted an overhead pipe leaking vapor, probably coolant. Without thinking, he aimed his pistol at it. The pipe burst, flooding the corridor with freezing mist. The Drex hesitated, their vision sensors fogged. Cole charged. It was insane. To rush an armored alien twice his size? But Cole didn't slow down. He slammed into the first trooper, ripping the plasma rifle from its grip. Before the second could react, Cole fired point blank. The blast sent it crashing into the wall. "Go!" Cole yelled, tossing the stolen rifle to Ortiz. They scrambled into the maintenance shaft, crawling through tight metal tunnels as the sound of Drex voices echoed behind them. By the time they reached an emergency docking hatch, Cole's heart was pounding. Outside, only a small, old shuttle was available, barely spaceworthy, but it was their only chance. As the shuttle powered up, Ortiz looked at him. They knew exactly where we'd be. This wasn't random. Cole stared out the viewport at the sealed station behind them. The Drex attack wasn't about supplies or territory, it was about him. Somewhere in the galaxy, someone had put a target on Sergeant Cole Varick's back, and they weren't going to stop until he was dead. The test that wasn't meant to be passed, the alien prison ship Iron Talon hung in orbit above Calthus's dying sky. Black hole shimmered in the heat of the planet below. Inside Sergeant Cole Varick sat in a cell built for creatures twice his size, the cold metal walls pressing in on him. Commander Thryn stood outside the cell, his arms crossed, studying Cole like a puzzle that refused to solve itself. The commander's pale, scaled face betrayed no emotion, but his sharp golden eyes were full of questions. "You should not be alive," Thryn said finally. His voice was smooth, but there was an edge in it, like the scrape of steel. Cole leaned back against the wall. "You keep saying that, starting to think you're trying to convince yourself." Thryn didn't reply. Instead, he pressed a button on a panel. The cell door hissed open. Cole tensed. "This part where you kill me?" "No," Thrin said. "This is where you prove what you are." Two massive guards stepped forward and shackled Cole's wrists. They marched him through the dim corridors of the Iron Talon until they reached a huge chamber. The room's floor was made of shifting metal plates, like a living surface. Cole's eyes narrowed. "What is this?" "A trial," Thrin said. "One that no human has ever passed." The floor suddenly split apart, opening into a maze of moving platforms over a pit of glowing liquid molten plasma. The air shimmered from the heat. Above, alien soldiers watched from balconies, their voices low and mocking. Thrin gestured, "Survive to the other side." "That is all." Cole laughed once, a short, humorless sound. "That's all?" Platform tilted, and he almost fell immediately. The guard shoved him forward. He jumped, landing hard on the next plate, which sank under his weight. Heat blasted up his legs. Platforms began moving, sliding sideways, tilting, even flipping. Entirely. Cole's mind raced. This wasn't just about strength. It was about reading the pattern. The aliens had built this to break a person's focus until they made a fatal mistake. He crouched low, feeling the faint tremors in the plates. The movement had a rhythm. He leapt to another platform just as the one he stood on flipped into the molten pit. From above, the alien soldiers jeered. "Fall, human. Gravity always wins." Cole ignored them. His body moved on instinct. Every jump precise, every landing calculated. His breathing was steady, his eyes scanning 3 steps. Ahead, halfway through, the platforms began moving faster. One slid from beneath his feet, forcing him to grab a jagged metal edge. The heat burned into his palms, but he pulled himself up, teeth gritted. On the balcony, Thrin's expression changed. His golden eyes narrowed not in anger, but in something closer to curiosity. The final stretch was the hardest. Platforms vanished without warning, replaced by gouts of flame. Cole timed his movements perfectly, darting forward just as the last plate tilted toward the plasma. He landed on the final platform and rolled onto solid ground. His chest rose and fell with slow, controlled breaths. Above, the alien crowd had gone silent. Thrin stepped forward. "Impossible," he muttered under his breath. Cole smirked. "Guess you need a new word for me." The guards tried to take him back to his cell, but Thrin raised a clawed hand. "No, he will not return to the cell. Prepare the next phase." Cole's smirk faded. "Next phase." Thrin's eyes glinted. "You've survived the trial of endurance. Now we see if you can survive the trial of truth." Cole didn't know what that meant, but something in Thrin's tone told him it would be worse than the plasma pit. Far worse. On the edge of the black hole system, the largest alien war fleet ever seen waits in silent formation. Thousands of ships, some bigger than cities, hang in the void, blocking all light. Admiral Threx waits for the humans to arrive, expecting an easy surrender. But then, a single human ship emerges from hyperspace, broadcasting one message: stand down or be erased. The aliens laughing till they detect the energy spike. Plot: the Marine and his squad land on the enemies. Forward command station. Their mission: disable the alien fleet's warp relays, stranding them far from reinforcements. The aliens believe it's impossible till humans demonstrate a technology they've kept secret for centuries: graviton weapons. Devices that can tear apart space-time. The Marine leads a brutal fight in the station's reactor chambers, where every wrong move could cause a singularity. The alien admiral finally understands the truths: humanity's military power has been hidden, not absent. They were never weak, they were waiting for the right moment. Final transmission from Earth orders the Marine: end this war. Okay. Make them remember humanity. As the alien fleet begins to panic, smaller species across the galaxy start defecting to the human side, realizing the balance of power has shifted. The last stand of a human, the alien dreadnought loomed above the battlefield. It's black, whole, blocking out the sun. Every alien commander in the sector had gathered here to see the human finally fall. The Marines stood alone at the edge of the smoking crater, His armor was cracked, his visor shattered, but his hands still gripped the alien rifle he had stolen. The ground trembled as the enemy's war machines closed in. Above him, alien generals shouted orders. Their soldiers swarmed forward. "End it now," one commander growled. But the Marine didn't run. He didn't hide. He activated the small device on his wrist, a beacon. Far above, hidden behind a moon, the real human fleet stirred. For centuries, humans had let the galaxy think they were weak. They had hidden their best weapons, their most advanced ships, waiting for one moment, this moment. The alien army closed in. The Marine smiled. "You wanted to know what humans are? You're about to find out." The sky split apart. Dozens of massive human warships descended, their cannons lighting up the air. Beams of energy ripped through the alien ranks. Explosions shook the ground. The Marine charged forward, leading the counterattack. The galaxy would remember this day, the day one human Marine shattered the myth of human weakness and started a war no alien could win. And somewhere deep in the enemy lines, alien leaders whispered the same words over and over. We underestimated them.